Hello guys, I'm International Master Andrei Ostrovsky and this is Learn from Chess Blitz, a live show that gives you an opportunity to learn something new about chess while playing against me. If you're new to the show, we play on leechess.org. Just go there and challenge me for a 5-minute game. By the way, this show has two editions. The one is the Sunday edition and the one is the Monday edition. So on Sundays, I usually play just normal chess. On Mondays, I try to experiment with different things, including some strange opening lines and so forth. So today is Sunday. That means you can expect something normal, standard, just a pure positional chess. So our main topic today is strategy. So I will be focusing on explaining plans mainly. As for other things, if you want to improve your chess, I just recommend you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find a lot of instructive stuff there. So not only live streams, but also some instructive chess videos. So you can find the link below. It is bit.ly/Mostrovsky. Also a good idea to be notified in time about my videos, live streams, and other stuff is to follow me on Twitter. I'm Master Ostrovsky there. And one more thing I wanted to tell you before we start playing chess. I also started doing this stuff on chess.com. For this reason, I use Twitch, and you can also find the link to my Twitch account there below. It is twitch.tv/Mostrovsky. You probably know that I'm a member of Las Vegas Desert Rats team. It is the Pro Chess League team, and well, I'm doing 30 hours challenge streaming for these guys. This will help me to become a local player there, and I will actually help these guys to compete in the upcoming season of Pro Chess League on chess.com. So it will be nice if you will also follow me on Twitch and actually attend my shows on chess.com because I'm completely new to Twitch TV. I have no followers there, and well, it will be just nice to see you somewhere around, talking to you and so forth. Okay, I'm really happy that there are so many guys already watching this and actually waiting for a game. So let's start. Let's just start it. I already have 3 challenges, and the first that gets the game today is Azure Mist. Let's go. I'm playing with white pieces, okay. E4, C5, Sicilian. So I usually play something like Bishop C4 against Azure Mist. So he plays A6. And what I wanted to try instead of Bishop C4 today is something that I probably have never played during my live show, so I will play G3. Also interesting positional move. I prepare the development of the bishop on G2, where it will control D5 square. And now after E5, there are usually 2 options for white to go away with the knight. The one is knight to E2, preparing something like H3, G4, and then knight throw E2 goes to G3. Another option just to play knight to B3, standard move after E5 in Najdorf. And here we deal with another idea. What white will try to do is actually to undermine black's pawn whenever it is on B5. Also the idea for white here is to bring the knight to D5 at some point. And after E takes D5, for example, this way, well, the knight through B3 can go to A5 and to C6, occupying this weakened square. Okay, so at the moment, I have to make a decision. So there is a possibility to play knight D5 right now. One move. Another move is to play A4, but I don't actually want prevent B5, so I want black to play B5 to undermine it after that. So what are useful moves for white here? They are probably h3, controlling a g4 square, rook to e1, occupying the potentially open file. When I play knight d5, it will be opened. It is also possible to develop the dark squid bishop. Here I have an interesting possibility to put it on e3, on d2 as well. But if I play bishop d2, then there is of course d5 move. So most likely this rook e1 isn't that bad, with the idea of putting the bishop on d2 then. Okay, let's start with the rook e1. Knight to d7. Okay, so d5 is no longer possible, at least right now. So probably I can put my bishop on d2 here if I want. But do I want to do this? I'm not sure. Why bishop d2? Because from there it will control a5 square. As I said before, at some point I will have a chance to put my knight there. So let's try this bishop d2. Knight to c5, okay. So here I guess we can try this knight d5, finally. So it feels like it is prepared. So let's go there. And now my bishop controls a5, so if black doesn't exchange my knight b3, I will probably play this knight a5. By the way, at the moment, additional idea is to play bishop to a5, maybe, attacking the queen and grabbing b6 square at some point. Grounding student says that Azure doesn't usually play e5. Okay, he doesn't play e5 just because I usually play bishop c4 against Azure. And after bishop c4, of course, e5 isn't that great. That's probably the reason why we didn't see e5. Okay, let's take this way. Again, bishop a5 may be a threat. Knight takes d5, e takes d5. Fuchs says, time, Andre, your old enemy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess this position should be just equal now. So after this exchange on d5, both sides have very clear plans. White wants to play on the queen side, try and b4, c5. Black wants to do something like f5, e4, f4 maybe, and so forth. But we will see who will benefit from this pawn structure. So bishop a5 no longer looks that attractive. I'd rather just stick to b4, c5, and so forth. Okay, Paul says that he found my Twitch account. Yeah, that is there. Twitch.tv/Mostrovsky. Rook c8 attacking c4. Alright, I think I have to play b3 here, just protecting the pawn. And f5, very logical. Very, very logical. Right, now it feels like I have to stop this pawn, because if it goes to f4, it will be extremely annoying. So I will just play f4 now. Okay, e4 closes position. And this bishop g6 will be quite bad, I hope. But my bishop on g2 is also not that cool. But at very least, I hope for something like, oh, it is a big mistake. Bishop c3 was possible there. So black just missed a great opportunity. There was a big blunder. Okay, let's prevent it. And it's time, I guess, to play c5, or maybe to start with bishop f1. I don't know what is better. Let's just play c5. I think it's prepared. So I can potentially improve my bishop through f1. And this dc5, well, this just improves my pawns, and now my pawns are very good. Very strong ones. b6. Why not to take? Because bishop takes c3. All right. So let's take on a6 instead. And let's go. I think check should be helpful here. Oh, that's another mistake. I'm so sorry I'm playing so stupid. I'm just losing here. Come on. So big blunder. So I wanted to play bishop f1 after that, but now there is just queen takes f1. Yeah. My God. Yeah, I was too focused on plans instead of playing chess. That is the first time Azure wins the game against me, I think. Yeah. That's it. Congratulations, my friend. That was a good game. So you played normal. I played like an idiot. All right. All right. So let's have a look at that. First of all, let's start with the things that happened by the end of the game. So to start with here, so most likely f4 was not correct in this position. So on the other hand, I wanted to stop that pawn on f5, but maybe it was better for me just to ignore this f4 move, because if black plays, let's say f4, then I have an interesting idea of playing bishop h3, then bringing my bishop to e6. So some moves like c5 deserve attention here, and also what? Maybe, I don't know, this position doesn't look very attractive for white, to be honest. So yeah, feels like f4 was okay, more or less. Okay, e4 was played. I think that also something like queen b6 deserved attention. In this case, if I play bishop to e3, black can capture my pawn on b4, which is absolutely unclear. Maybe black just, maybe he's just better there, I don't know. So let's check if the queen isn't trapped there after rook a4. But okay, queen goes to c3, I can't see how can I trap it. So everything is more or less fine. But I can try something like c5 instead. And after g takes c5, f takes c5. This position is unclear. So I have this very strong pawns in the center. And yeah, this can be potentially very annoying for black. So I guess, yeah, e4 was a correct decision, more or less. I mean, if compared to queen b6, it was definitely better. But another interesting thing that black could have done is just to keep the tension, something like bishop f6 here. Because if white takes on e5, then bishop takes e5. I think this position is very good for black. In fact, this bishop on e5 is just perfect. Black is ready to open up my king side with the f5, f4, and white's pieces are just not coordinated well. So bishop f6, I just like this move better than this e4. So e4 gives me a chance to come up with quite natural setup, very comfortable position. The only thing, after bishop f6, I shouldn't play this rook a5. Rook a5 was a big mistake. So of course rook c1 should be played here, covering c3 square. Bishop b2 isn't that dangerous because of my rook c2 move, and I'm ready to play c5 here, so I don't think black has a chance to stop it. So I'm just much faster here. As we may notice, my bishop can join the play on the queen side quickly, so through f1, then I play c5, and my bishop is already here, going to c4. So something like this can happen here. And black's pawns are just stuck here on the king side, so black doesn't have this quick counterplay. All right, that is the problem. So rook a5 was a big mistake. Bishop c3 is, of course, the winning move for black. Because look, if I play bishop to d2, queen goes to b6. And if I play c5 here, then after d c5, bishop takes c3 and c takes b4. Oh, this is unclear because I can play queen d4. Look at this tactics. Very interesting. So queen d4, just attacking the queen and the pawn on g7 simultaneously. Wow, nice. Yeah, and the queen is hanging, so there is no rook c3 or b c3. Yeah, that is interesting. So probably the things are not that clear here. Okay, d4. Okay, c5, black can play bishop d4 check. Another intermediate possibility. So a lot of intermediate checks here, and then takes on c5, I guess. And my rook on a5 is kind of not that protected if, for example, I play bishop e3 or something. Yeah, this position is definitely not that great. So instead, he played queen to e8. Now I play queen to d2. Maybe it was better for me to try even bishop d4. So why not? It's a good idea to exchange these bishops, I guess, because, well, our bishops are both not that great. I mean, g2 and g6. But if I will have this good centralized queen on d4, supporting c5 and a bunch of other things, I guess I will feel very good. But even this was okay, especially after dc5 and bc5. I thought my position is very close to winning, and that was probably my mistake. So it was too early to make this conclusion. Here, instead of d6, I guess the most natural move for white was bishop to f1, preventing this queen b5, bringing the bishop to c4, and only after that playing something like d6. Once again, I believe my position is better because my pieces are potentially much more active, and my pawns can move while black's pawns are blockaded. But I played d6. That is also not bad. The only thing after queen b5, why the hell did I play this queen d5? I don't know. So bishop f1 should be played here, attacking the queen. What I wanted to prevent is queen takes b3, but I'm not sure that queen b3 is so clear, because here I have, I guess, something like d7 at least. Just attacking the rook. Pawn on c5 is under pressure. Black's rook can't go away from the back rank because I take the bishop on f6 and then play d8. So I definitely take this pawn back, and again I have much more active setup. Probably it's no longer the advantage, but looks quite annoying for black to play. Yeah, but queen d5 was a serious blunder, just bishop f7, and it's losing, I think. Right. Yeah. Let's go further. Thanks a lot for this experience. Let's play Crowning Student now. If I'm not mistaken, Crowning Student was the second who challenged me today, so quite logical that I play the second game against him. So knight f3. All right. Knight f6. G3. So I'm gonna try something closed, because usually I play e4 against Crowning Student. This time want to try something else. So c4. Something like English opening setup with the pawn on c4 and the bishop there, Venkatoed. Now I have a chance to play knight c3, I think, controlling d5. And I guess now d4 is okay for me. There is also a chance to play just d3. But I feel... it feels like d4 is just slightly more ambitious, right? Grabbing some central squares. And actually opening the bishop g2. So bishop g2 is a key piece here. It exerts some pressure along diagonal h1, a8. And it's logical stuff just to do everything to make it as active as possible. Alright, just a second. a6. Okay, so it can make sense, of course. In this, probably black prepares b7, b5. But it will be hard for black to play b5. So what is the drawback of playing a6 is that b6 square is slightly weakened now. But can I use it immediately? I don't think so. So I can play h3 here, preparing bishop to e3. But I guess usually white tries to develop this bishop on b2 if I'm not mistaken. But if I play b3 here, there is some tactics like knight d4, queen d4, knight e4, queen takes, bishop takes c3. At the same time, I don't want to go away from d4 square. All right, let's play h3 and see what will happen after that. Was he swearing? No, he was actually writing the bullshit in Russian. Yeah. I don't understand why. They usually come and write a bullshit in Russian. So I'm not against Russian language in chat. I don't know, just one or two phrases. Because I speak Russian, I understand Russian and so forth. But when you start just spamming with a concrete bullshit, come on. You're just blocked immediately. e5, all right. This weakens d5 seriously. I don't think it is a good idea. So I'll just play knight to c2 and then the knight will go through e3 to d5. So I think it is a serious mistake. With the bishop on g7, if black plays d6, this d6 will be vulnerable itself. A strange decision. I understand that black probably wanted me to take on c6. In that case, black is fine. But, well, this way, it's strange. Can you hear my son screaming, by the way? That's interesting. Riddick says, okay, that's bad. Then I saw something similar to his name. Yeah, he was writing something like, I am blah, 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 and this is a great Russian name, and so forth. When people start saying that it is a great Russian name, I predict that the next thing will be that Russians are great, and so forth. So these guys are trying to do this just because they know that I'm from Ukraine, and you know the stuff. So these guys are just blocked immediately. No chance, I mean. And so forth. Okay. Because he's doing that, yeah, in a very loud fashion. So probably you all can hear him screaming. For now, it is just unavoidable. I'm sorry, but I can do nothing to fix it. So bishop a3. Okay, I know what should I do. I should actually buy the new mic that will be not that sensitive. Well, I'm in the progress. So that is what I was talking about. So this pawn d6 is potentially a big problem for black. So let's play queen d2. Just preparing rook to d1. f5. f4 is coming. Again, I'm not sure this will be very, very dangerous. So if f4, I will just play knight to e4, I guess. Oh, rook f6. Another strange decision, but this is just a protection of the d6. Okay, can I just play c5 now? Attacking it. Aha, now I understand the idea behind f5, just to play rook f6 and then probably to bring the bishop to f8, something like this. Okay, very interesting. After c5, not only I attack the d6, there is also the idea of playing knight e5, knight b6, something like this. Christian, yes, you can challenge me, of course, on lichess.org. 5 minutes. Bishop f8. And now knight d5 looks interesting. Just attacking the rook. Then bringing the knight to b6, maybe. And even to c4. Attacking this d6 additionally. It's no longer that happy screaming, I think. But my wife is about to fix that, I think. My goodness. Okay, Tom S types Andre. Tom. Hello. So knight takes f6, right? Extra exchange. A much better development. Okay, let's bring the knight to d5. I guess this is just a logical follow-up. And now what to do? It's an interesting question. Okay, I guess this should be not bad. And now my target is c5 mainly. I guess I can attack it like this. Now it's important not to blunder here, so rook to e1 should be played. Knight to b5 drops the rook on d8. But I understand black was already in a serious time trouble. So I think that e5. So actually a6 is already something strange. So I guess the best way for black to play this position is actually to take on d4. And after queen d4 to play, for example, d6. Then bishop goes to e6. And black already has a threat of knight d5 or something. And everything is fine. Okay, b7 is under pressure, but it's a manageable thing, so black can protect it. And what is really interesting, in some cases, black can even sacrifice it. As for b3 here, for instance, preparing bishop b2, that is exactly what I was talking about. So here, black has an interesting tactics. So knight goes to e4, attacking the queen. Queen takes c4, now bishop takes c3, attacking the rook. And if I play rook to b1, then bishop goes to f5. Nice, isn't it? So most likely here I have to play something like bishop h6, but it's no longer something that I wanted to achieve here. So it takes here. Alright, so bishop can come back to f6 if black wants. There is a possibility just to grab that bishop. In all the cases, I think black is just okay. So there is nothing specific in white's position. And by the way, here, after bishop h6, I think rook e8 is also a possibility, and so forth. And as for the sacrifice of the b pawn, I mean, if I play bishop to other square, let's say I put it on, have no idea where even, because if I get to f4, there is knight h5. If I play bishop g5, if I play bishop e3, there is knight g4, so maybe bishop g5. So here I think black can sacrifice a pawn easily. So bishop e6, bishop takes b7, rook b8, and if I take on a7, there is queen c7, winning that bishop. And if my bishop goes away, there is b2 pawn, which is hanging. Yeah. And a6, okay, it's possible to play. But once again, knight d4 was necessary here. But with the pawn on a6, as you can see, it is no longer that clear, because in some lines when I take on b7, I can also take on a6. But it doesn't mean that knight d4 was bad here. So it was still playable, was okay. But e5 is a serious mistake. So after that, I just go away with the knight, and look, so many holes in black's position. This bishop becomes quite passive after e5, and the rest is simple. I just wanted to attack d6 pawn. I did everything to attack d6 pawn, because d6 was black's only way to try to complete the development of the bishop c8. And at very least I had a chance to grab the d5 square at any moment, so just to bring the knight there and to have this great centralized knight, just like in Sveshnikov variation. But for Sveshnikov variation, the bishop is simply misplaced here on g7. So that was the main reason why position became so bad and quickly. So let us continue, right? Let us continue. The next is, let's say, Sarit. And again, white. So let's try English opening. Knight f6, knight c3, g6. So we can transpose, of course, to King's Indian, no problems with that. But I want to stick to this interesting setup with this great Fianchetto bishop on diagonal h1, a8. Castles. All right. This is also interesting to play e4 here and to put my knight on e2. Okay. And after e5, well, I can play d4 if I want, slightly later, but I will try to play without d4. So just d3, then bring in my knight to d5 at some point. Another interesting plan. If I'm not mistaken, it was played by Botvinnik. So let's bring the knight to d5. Queen d7. Okay, now black probably wants to play bishop h3. Which is, I think, not that big problem for me, because my bishop is anyway limited by my own pawns. But what to do with this knight on f6? So I actually want black to take on d5 to open up the c file and so on. So when you have such a knight on d5, of course, the natural follow-up is to do something like b4, b5, or maybe d4 at some point. But I don't want to play d4, because this will open the diagonal for this bishop g7. Bishop h3 is not a threat right away, I guess, because of some tactics based on knight c7. What is interesting is something like bishop g5, I guess, but then knight goes to e8 and I can't see follow-up, and black prepares f7, f5. Maybe just to play f4 myself. I'm not a big expert in this position, so let's try f4. Of course, this potentially opens diagonal for that bishop g7, but if black takes on f4, okay, I'll have f-file, some perspectives of bringing my pawns in the center to motion, so some interesting stuff. Alright, and this gives me a chance actually to grab even more space with the f4, f5. I think it is a mistake. So obviously I can't take on h3 and on c7 because of knight g4. Attacking h2 and I have no defense. But what I can do here is just to play f5 right now. Yeah, this should be quite promising. Because after this exchange, I have my pawns on correct squares, right? So light squares, I wanted to say, instead of right. So light squares are occupied by my pawns while my bishop is a dark squared one. Just a good strategy, I think, for such a situation. And black has some problems actually with his bishop. Now what to do? Bishop e3 simply, or just taking on d4, but taking on d4 helps black slightly because the diagonal for that bishop becomes longer and the bishop potentially will have a square on e5. If I take on g6, f7 takes g6. So I can probably just play bishop to g5 here, or starting with the knight e4, the same idea. Bishop g5, I guess. Attacking the knight. cd4. And now I have just a much better bishop. Just a much better bishop. Where to go? I think just here. So look, and especially after g5, g5 is a big mistake. It was necessary to keep the tension there, I guess. That was the only chance. Now I have a very clear plan. I will just play along the c file, so after cd5 it became open. And it's time to attack the pawn c7. So at some point the difference between the pieces will become very noticeable and decisive, I guess. Now let's take. Queen a4 attacking both d4 and c6. Rook c8 takes d4. Okay, I have only 1 minute, so have to be faster. So I already outplayed my opponent, have extra pawn, much better pieces, but well, I still have to win this. Again, fixing pawns on correct squares for me and bad squares for my opponent. By the way, after king h8, I have some additional plans of just opening the h file at some point, just playing h4, maybe after g4 and so on. But we'll see. Okay. Oh, I got 15 seconds. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That was quite generous. And a new subscriber, whoever it is, thanks a lot. Your support is very important and really welcome. Again, just fixing pawns on correct squares. So now, it's time to do something on the queen side, because I think it will be my side to play. So rook c4, typical lift, preventing this a4, and maybe intending to play rook a4 at some point. d4 is also an interesting move. So yeah, something like d4 should decide at some point. Just get into d6 pawn, because at the moment the d file is closed, right? It's not that easy for me to attack this pawn, but once I play d4, the files inevitably become open and it will be over. Alright, in this situation I think I will just take another rook to c1. If d5, I'll take on c5, but most likely I should have played something like king f3 prior to playing that, just to stop that counterplay. All right, let's bring the king closer to the center. What about this? Another transformation. Now there is a weakness. The file is open, so I have the access to d6 and a5, but black has a counterplay. Alright, let's fix this weakness. This creates the one on b3, but the rook remains passive. Even if rook goes to b6, I play rook to b1. So now, what is my task? Just to come up with a breakthrough, I suppose. Well, I probably overestimated my position, so I don't have a lot here. My goodness, it's kind of fortress. Oh my, that was very bad conversion. Very, very bad one. Of course, position was absolutely winning, but come on, I misplayed this. In a so bad way, by the way. But my opponent still gives me some chances, so I'm just regrouping my pieces with a good efficiency. So now my bishop can go to e3 at some point. And this one is already something that looks very close to winning. But again, I'm not sure how. One second only, I will lose this on time. Yeah, lost on time. Can you imagine? Position was absolutely winning, and then I started playing something strange. I think bishop c3, not here, but already here, was the first step in the wrong direction. So, oh yeah, that's annoying to lose such a position. No, okay, bishop c3 was correct, but after rook takes c4, I should have captured with another pawn, come on. Yeah, just avoiding this a4 counterplay and opening the b file for my rook. So now if, let's say a4, just play rook b1. So I still have extra pawn and great chances to win this. With the same e5 breakthrough at some point, or maybe just gradually preparing d4. Let's say king g8. I can play this check, king f7, I can play rook b7, king goes back to g8. Black's pieces are completely passive. Now I can win this pawn if I want. So that is just amazing. Yeah, position is so great. Bishop is so better, and extra pawn. So that was a mistake. I took on c4, and after rook a6, I probably made one more. So this a4 was stupid. So I saw that after that it will be not that simple for me to come up with a breakthrough, but I didn't actually believe that there will be no chance, or at least it will be so hard. So again, instead of playing a4, I should have played something else. Maybe just rook to d1. Again, just waiting slightly, and if black plays this, I can play this. And if c4, bishop b4, I just attack this one. And again, gradually it should be winning, of course, because I have extra pawn and much better pieces, right? So a4 was another step in the wrong direction. And after king g8, well, I played this e5 again. It was too early. I should have been much better prepared for that. So maybe to bring the king to c2, let's say, just protecting b3 and making my rook free. Then to bring my rook to d5 square, something like that. Could be a plan. So give me the arrow, come on. It doesn't give me the arrow somehow. Yeah, here is the arrow. Then to bring the rook to d5. Again, give me the arrow, please. No. So bring the rook to d5, all right? Let's forget about arrows for now. And then at the proper moment when, of course, black can't actually protect all the weaknesses, to play something like e5. Or maybe maneuvering the bishop somewhere. I don't know. It will be very hard after a4, so it's not that easy. Yeah, that was another mistake, I mean. And I think that I could have played much better earlier. So somewhere here, it was okay for me just to try maybe d4 immediately, maybe something else. So black's main mistake here was actually to give me a chance to exchange correct pieces. And this f6 move was, of course, a great mistake. So instead of that, it was necessary just to play bishop e5. And in this case, position is not that clear. So yes, I still have more space, it feels like that. I still have better bishop, in my opinion, has more perspectives at least. But your bishop is no longer that stupid on g7 doing nothing, right? So here at least it protects d4 pawn. So I don't have this easy access to the pawn d4 as it happened in our game. Yeah, that was an interesting idea. And to start with, I think that queen d7 is probably not the best way to play that. In my opinion, when you see such a hole on d4, you have to think of something like knight d7 move. That was an interesting idea, just to bring the knight to c5, and at some point to e6, and then at some point to d4. But even if you stop somewhere on c5, so and ensure this position with the a7, a5 move, this knight will be also quite good. And never forget your plan is just to play f5, right? Because after all, you have this King's Indian setup. So you have to prepare f5, bishop e6, just a waste of time, because bishop on e6 is not that better than on c8, in fact. So it does nothing here, all right? So knight d7, I believe, was a better try for you. Okay, one more subscriber. Thank you, guys. Let's go further. PhD Ganbarov. Accept. Bishop h6 at one point, forced knight d5. Yeah, it was possible, but I think black could have played something like... Okay, even knight takes d5, where after I'm forced to take on g7. And king takes g7, and bishop is exchanged. I mean, that bad bishop that I definitely wanted to save in black's camp. All right, let's focus on the game. So knight f3, knight c6. Bishop b5, a6, Roy Lopez. Kramnik student says, Andre, your channel will grow slowly. It's growing slowly, I would say. But I would be happy if we can replace the slowly with quickly. Because you can't even imagine how it is sometimes hard to doing a lot, like trying, pushing, and so forth, and seeing no results or something. But of course, there are results. There are so many guys, nice guys like you, watching each and every show of mine and actually learning and improving. That is, after all, the main result, I think. And that is my primary goal. Just to make you learn, just to make you a better chess player. All right, let's go. Rook e1, b5. Because it was already a threat of taking on c6 and taking on e5. Bishop goes to b3, d6. Protecting pawn e5 additionally and preparing the development of the light squared bishop. Kramnik student said very, very important things. Just play. Stop this daydreaming. Correct. That's one of the main reasons of my problems with the time. So the lack of focusing and daydreaming. People like quick fix channels. Play e4 and your opponent will suffer. I think something like play g4 and your opponent will suffer will get even more subscribers quickly. And new subscriber. Great. It is a good day today. It's a lot of new subscribers. Posting videos to Reddit can help. Well, I'm actually doing that. I'm doing that. And, well, some videos, of course, get a lot of views after that, but I know that there is a chance to come up with something great at some point. So all of a sudden it will actually give you a lot of views and hence a lot of subscribers and so forth. Yeah. So the one has to be patient to conclude and just to do his stuff. So now, as far as I remember, there is an interesting way for black to counterattack already here with the d5. So let's try it. Bishop h5 was played just to avoid h3 with the tempo. If you keep up the good work, the channel will inevitably grow. Yep, I also believe this. So the main idea behind d5 is that after playing this bishop b3 and knight d2, of course white completed the development, no questions, that was very useful. But at the same time, as we may notice, both the queen and the rook are kind of limited slightly. And this gives black some opportunities in the center hence. So these heavy pieces don't have the direct access to d5 and e5 squares. That's the main point here. Okay, ed5. As far as I remember, there is a good idea to play ed4 with a further counterattack. Let's try it as well. This is interesting at very least. And as for rated, by the way, there are some limitations, so you can't actually post your own videos, at least for a long time. So it is noticed, and you are most likely banned if you keep doing that. So it will be very helpful if you guys can do this to help me a bit. This sort of support will be also really appreciated. So if you like the video, not only can you, for example, press the like button, but you can also share it on Reddit, if you use Reddit, of course. So rook takes e3. All right. Now I'm a pawn down, but I have a pair of bishops, so There are some interesting chances for counterplay based on, let's say, this diagonal a7 f2, especially this f2 looks quite attractive to attack. So let's bring the bishop to c5. Rook e5. And I think I can take on f2 here, can't I? I guess this is why rook e5 is not that great. So knight g4 check. And then knight takes e5, the point that bishop h5 pins the knight f3. Most people are interested in chess openings, I guess. Yeah, most likely I will have to, at some point, post something on this topic as well. But in general, I just want to stick to my niche, so I'm usually focused on chess improvement, and I think that is exactly what I can help you with. All right, analysis board. There was just a mistake. The game actually ended in opening. After d5, ed5 is the main move, if I'm not mistaken, but after e takes d4, the most annoying move is probably bishop to g5. Yeah, dc6 is definitely the move that wins a pawn, but after that white has some problems with coordinating his pieces, and there is a big chance for black just to grab that pawn very soon. With these two bishops, will be not that hard to do. So a bishop g5 was interesting here. So my knight is hanging. If I take on d5, then bishop takes d5. My knight is hanging again, and if I take here, bishop takes e7. So taking on d5 is prevented. Most likely I have to do something like this. D takes c3, and after bc3, position remains unclear. But maybe white has something here like dc6, cd2, and even queen takes d2. Yeah, that was probably the main line. And even if I take on f3, then after this, this, and this, white has pair of bishops. Yeah, some problems with the pawn structure, but this pawn now is a great power. So I can be mistaken here. I don't remember this. So d5 is double-edged continuation. But white should be still slightly better at very least, in my opinion. All right, so let's go further. Let's go further and play whom? I think it's time for Simba. So let's play Simba. Let's play Simba. And I'm playing with black. All right. So I don't remember what did we play last time. Okay, last time it was Monday edition, and I played Scandinavian or even Elegant defense. I don't remember. Probably Scandinavian. Yeah, I played d5 followed by c6. All right. So here I will play just normal opening. e5. Bishop c4, bishop c5. So Italian, the slow Italian with the d3, which is very similar to Ruy Lopez, in fact. Here I usually do this, so I play this a6, d6, h6, kind of limiting the active possibilities of my opponent. And then I just play bishop e6, trying to get rid of this Italian-Spanish bishop. So I prefer to call it a Spanish bishop, because here we have, as I said, very similar thing to Ruy Lopez. So Spanish, Spanish, Spanish. All right, bishop c2, saving the guy on the board and preparing something like b4. And d4 is not a move right away, because I control d4 several times, which means I have some time for rook e8, and just d5, I guess. Just d5. Now let's play d5. So completing the development and playing in the center, very natural thing here. Since white decided not to play d4 at the early stage of the game, so why not to play d5? But only after all the pieces are developed. It doesn't guarantee the equality or a better position, so position remains very unclear in my opinion. Now I guess to avoid complications I have to take with the queen. But let's see if I can take, for example, with the knight or with the bishop. If I take with the knight, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, rook takes e5 leads to what? Bishop f2, king f2, queen f6, check, with then knight to f3. Not that clear. Bishop takes d5 definitely leads to knight e4 move. Well, I think queen takes d5 should be played here simply. Protecting everything and preparing another rook to d8. And already just watching this d3 pawn. And here I guess I can simply take. And take again. And just play rook to d8. I think, well, I have a slightly better ending. Because it's not clear how to develop this dark squared bishop. So where to go with this guy? Everything is prevented except for d2, but d2 is quite passive. e3 leads to actually weakening the pawn structure. There is also rook which is pinned to a2. Unless white plays something like b3, but this limits the on bishop c2. Alright, king f1, now what? Bishop c4 is very tempting. But king goes to e1, there is no direct follow-up, I guess. Or maybe there is knight b4, c4, bishop b4. No, there is nothing. Okay. So maybe I have the time just to grab the space, like b5, b4 looks interesting. Yeah, let's try this. Have a lot of space, in fact, already. Why not to grab slightly more? Yeah, it's a pleasant position for black, at least right now. But it's not clear if I will have enough resources to actually prove that I have more than just a good look. Alright, b3 is sort of achievement, I guess, for me. So yeah, it limits the activity of my bishop, but it also limits the on bishop on c2. Now, what to do now? Very tempting just to come up with something like this. Grabbing more space. Kramnik student said that Simba will be international master soon. So Simba, tell me, do you have the norms? Or is just Kramnik student's impression? And now it's very tempting even to play something like this. Alright. So let's say I will take. And now a3. So if I will get to this a2 pawn, this guy on a3 may become a queen. At the moment it looks like a dream, but dreams come true, you know this rule. Okay. Let's take this, and I think it's time to activate my own queen. Otherwise, I may be not in time. Knight e2, so the knight goes to b1. It's time to play b4, protecting that a3 pawn. All right, let's go to the center. One more step. Protecting e5 to free my knight. Now I want my knight somewhere on c5, so let's go to c5. Let's see if it gives me anything. There is also a potential of the breakthrough, I guess. All right. The lesson was learned. So our previous game saw also some problems with that bishop, light squared one. All right, now what to do now? I can bring my knight to c5. Knight to d2. Fixing everything on light squares. All right, this is another target. That was probably a big mistake. That was a big mistake. No, there is no draw, my friend. There is just no draw after that, because I'll get to this pawn. That is my new target. That is my new target, so at least I have an extra pawn. Will be still not that easy to convert it, I believe. Or maybe it will be just an automatic like h3, h2. We will see. Oh, there is something nice. Look at this. I told you that dreams come true, right? So now we will have this great guys, h4 and a3 tearing white apart. And Mark is screaming, my friend. That's over. Yeah, look at this poor guy on a1. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So, I had a correct feeling that after this exchanges on e4, I had slightly pleasant endgame. But I think White missed a chance to actually solve all the problems somewhere here. I thought that after b5, alright, b3 was also the move I thought is just okay. But after a5 and king e2 and a4, I have a feeling that b takes a4 was just possible. Yeah, it looked quite dangerous, but after bishop c4, king e1 and b4, I think white should be alright. Simply protecting that pawn with the bishop. Yeah, it looks very passive, but I don't see a follow-up. So takes. Alright, maybe there is something connected with knight b4. But still, well, I don't know. Maybe it's really dangerous. Yeah, this definitely deserves additional analysis. So this position is quite complicated. So I lose a pawn, but I have some counterplay. But after this, I already felt very comfortable. The only thing here, I should have... no, that was okay. Here, I guess. C takes b4, knight takes b4, and knight to b1. That was a great chance. So knight takes a2, alright, knight takes a3. Yeah, black is probably only nominally better here. Even not better, I guess. Well, the bishop is slightly better. Bishop on e6, but I don't think there is a real chance to achieve anything. But after that, look at this guy on d1. It is just a poor bishop. And the pawn structure is fixed the way which really favors black, because in addition to this object of attack, but it's probably not that realistic to get to that pawn easily, I have always this idea of a breakthrough, which stops white from doing a variety of different things. So knight f3, king d6, king d3, f6. Yeah, just protecting the pawn and bringing the knight to the good position. Bishop c2, now knight a5, g5, because I'm not against this knight f5 move, I'll just capture it. By the way, already here I had the chance, by the way, to maybe think of bishop takes c4 move. Also, king to c5 was very interesting. So in this case, I want to take on c4 with the knight. And after bc4, bishop c4, I get that pawn, and I have 3 pawns just rolling there on the queen side. Also an interesting idea. But okay, I didn't have a lot of time, so I wanted to come up with something more quiet and understandable. That's why I played this. And now look, my pieces are much better. So it's just a question of time when I activate them even more. So bishop f7, the main idea was to bring the knight to e6 and then to d4. Still getting to this pawn b3 and just limiting the bishop c2 even more, and then to have c5 square for my king, exerting more and more pressure. So maybe there is a chance for white to survive it, but it's really hard. But g4 was a big mistake. After h4, it's over. So now you have 2 weaknesses. The one on h3, and another one is, of course, your queen side in general, because it is one big weakness because of this possibility of the breakthrough at some point. And after king e2, knight e6, well, I just got that pawn first. And here I saw this typical possibility for this sort of ending, just to tear the knight apart, because knight is very bad against rook pawns, right? And here I have 2 rook pawns. Yeah, 2 rook pawns. So there is no chance, of course. In this position, of course, I don't even need the h4, so it's winning. Well, h4 is very nice because it prevents white from, for example, blockading my king somewhere in the corner after I get that knight. Okay. Yeah. Let's go further. Let's go further. And next opponent, Too Much Love. Let's play Too Much Love. Nice nickname. d4, knight f6. And e6. That's my favorite choice. So I try to achieve Nimzo or Queen's Indian defense position. And here we have Queen's Indian defense, starting position. There are a lot of different lines and a lot of interest in transpositions to other opening lines. For example, after knight c3 and bishop b7, again, we have a chance to play Kasparov-Petrosian line after a3, and there is also a chance to play bishop g5, which is a hybrid of Nimzo and Queen's Indian. Extremely annoying thing, by the way, for black. But okay, e3 is just a modest move, where after, I guess, I can even play d5. So I think in this position, I will have a good version of Queen's Gambit. because the bishop is not on g5, it is on c1 limited with the on pawn. My bad bishop, I mean typically bad for Queen's Gambit, the light square bishop is already on b7, which means no longer that bad. I control the center, at least e4 square. And my plan is just to complete the development, to put the bishop on d6, if it is possible. But bishop b5, well. Right, I guess I have to play c6 here. What I wanted to do is actually to play a6. And bishop to d6, having the bishop on b7 not limited. So this bishop b5 check is quite good, in fact. Which means that probably I should have played bishop e7 prior to playing d5, waiting for white's light squared bishop move, and then d5, because in that case, of course, losing the time with this bishop b5 move wouldn't look very attractive. But bishop a4, that's strange. So I expected bishop to d3, in fact. And that could have been this typical disappearing move. So instead of playing bishop d3 immediately, white got this position with the pawn on c6. Alright, but bishop a4, what is the point? I don't think it is a good position for this guy. I can even play bishop a6 now, just stopping the king from castling, but it is not completely clear because I will have some problems with c6 pawn after knight e5. So I'll just focus on my development. I will just play bishop d6, castling, and then we will see. So I don't like the position of the bishop here. Most likely it will get to this b1 h7 diagonal anyway, but it is a waste of time because this bishop could have occupied this diagonal immediately after bishop d3. Alright. So now I can come back to my initial plan, just to play a6 and c5. But it looks ugly. So what to do instead? I can just play knight e4, I guess, if I want. But it's better to do when the knight is on d7 already, being ready to support the pawn on e4 after knight f6. So I guess there is nothing wrong with just playing knight to d7. Yeah, this gives white a chance to play e4, but it's not that clear, because in that case there will be an isolated pawn on d4. My knight will get to d5 easily. And there are also some interesting ideas based on like b5, b4, something like that, with the tempo attacking the knight. Also some ideas connected with the c6, c5 counterattack. When the pawn is on e4, it may lead to some great complications, and it's not clear right now who benefits from those complications. So I mean, white has to be careful. And in general, the idea of opening the position in the center when you have not developed pieces and your opponent is better developed at least is not very sound in my opinion. Angel says, I could beat you easily. Who knows? Maybe. Almost everyone could beat me easily. Especially when I'm in a bad shape. Alright, so e4 anyway. Right. Okay, let's take it. And knight to g5. That is interesting. So white is going to take on e4 next move. But can I prevent it by playing c6, c5? Just opening the position and activating my bishop. I guess this should be quite interesting for me to play. It's an interesting question from Tom. Would you ever consider 15 plus 15 games? Your commentary is amazing, and with more time, that would be cool. Yeah, I also considered it, but I'm not sure that's, well, my opponents will be fair. That's, I think, the main issue. I mean, when you have 15 minutes and, for example, the increment of 15 seconds, it's quite easy to use the engine simultaneously with the game. I know that the vast majority, of course, will play fairly, but there's a big problem anyway, nowadays, with longer controls. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I will do this as well. Of course, it is a good idea, right? Because you can explain more, you have more time. You can come up with a much better quality of play and so forth. That's true. Alright, this is a mistake, I believe, so I can take on d4 now. And there should be something connected with the counterattack against this. Or maybe just, you know, knight e5, knight c5. Everything looks very attractive here. Maybe just queen to c... No, queen c7, knight b5, come on. But even that works. I mean, I can take on h2 and then take on c2. Okay, let's try queen c7. That is an interesting move. Activating the queen, attacking the pawn, and pinning the knight c3 slightly. Alright. Bishop takes e4. I guess I can take here with check. Still have an extra pawn now, bishop to e5. Tempo move going back. And now, well, let's take this. Yeah, I think position remains not that clear, but black has extra pawn and much better development. So I do believe that this bishop a4 was a mistake. So bishop b5 was a good check, forcing me to play c6, limiting my bishop. So it's no longer that simple for me to come up with the ideal setup. What do I mean? If white plays, for example, bishop d3 immediately, I can play a6 covering b5 square, and after castling I just play bishop to d6. That is the ideal setup because my bishop occupies quite active position here. And my bishop b7 is not closed with my pawn c6, so it controls e4 square. And that is a very pleasant thing to play. For example, so like queen e2, castles, then knight goes to d7, and rook goes to e8. I have different plans like c7, c5, or knight to e4. So white usually struggles with this bad bishop, but this is completely playable for white. This is just not a very ambitious way of playing this, but many players prefer this position with white because black, it feels like black has like great attack and so forth. In fact, black has to spend a lot of time here to prepare everything carefully, and white has some chances in a counter-attack. That's the idea. So bishop b5, c6, and bishop a4, I don't like it at all because the bishop occupies strange position here. After rook e1, I should have played, I guess, rook to e8, just preventing e4, because e4 gives white some chances. Of course, I used these chances and won the game, but, well, It could have been a good idea just to prevent this bishop c1 from activation, because after white played e3, that is the main problem, all right? So preventing e4 looks very, very sound idea. What else? I could have played knight e4 probably. Knight takes e4, d takes e4, knight goes to d2, but I didn't want to force this position so early. But that was also quite interesting. On the other hand, it is double-edged because the knight now goes here or through f1 to g3. There are different ideas. And the bishop no longer looks that bad because white has the potential of playing d4, d5 at some point. So this idea is usually good for black when there is a direct attack on h2, but there is no such a thing in this situation, because if I play queen h4, okay, knight goes to f1, or even just h3, I have no follow-up there. So I have the same problem like white at the moment, so not so many pieces are in play. Not so many pieces influence the position. So first I have to complete my development, but rook e8 made sense just to stop e4, I guess. Okay, knight e7 was okay, but after this I thought that white would just take this way. So takes, okay, there is c5, but white can just go away with the rook. Even to h4, no, h4, bishop takes f3, sorry, but rook to e1 should be completely playable. So yeah, position is around equal, I guess. Maybe black is slightly better because of better development, but I guess it should be more or less equal after all. Yeah, this knight g5 gives me additional possibilities. Once again, I thought that here white would take. In this case, I wanted to do something like this, maybe this even, and knight to f6, but here bishop to g5. So I don't know. So taking the pawn was vital. So bishop c2 was probably the real mistake. After that, I'm just a pawn up. And queen c7 is most likely not the best move even. So like knight c5 could have been possible. And so on. A lot of good possibilities. So just bishop to e5, let's say. And then takes c3 if necessary. Yeah, so this is already a good position. I guess bishop c2 is the main mistake. All right. Let's go further. Let's go further. Who's here? Don G. Let's play. e4. Knight takes d4. Why don't you turn on the engine when analyzing your games? Because I don't understand why should I do this. I mean, my point there is to understand everything myself and to show you how the human being actually analyzes the position. Because, come on, what is the point of using engine? You need the engine only when you, for example, come up with a serious opening preparation. Right, so you came up with some ideas and you just check if they are correct. So for competitive chess and so forth. Well, it may be also a good idea just to check your analysis after you did this analysis yourself, because only that is the source of improvement. If you just turn on the engine does all the work for you, so how can you improve in this case? That's the main problem of using engines in general. By the way, one great player from Ukraine, Andrei Volokitin, who is 2700s, I believe, at some point, or very, very close to that. He said like something like, I think that my main mistake was that I just used the engine too much, too heavily. So I missed something, and that's why I didn't make it to the very, very top. Alright, queen c7 immediately, so black is more or less ready to play b5, so let's just play a4. Bishop e7, alright, let's keep developing the pieces. Bishop e3. And knight to d7. Okay, usually black has a choice between playing knight d7 or knight c6 in these situations. In these positions, so knight e7 is also a good possibility, I guess. Now I like the idea of just playing a5. Slightly limiting black on the queen side. Now let's play f4. Rook b8. Let's go for attack quickly. So with the knight on d7, it will be not that easy for black to coordinate his pieces. Yeah, this move is possible, of course. But I protect e4. And once the knight is on d7, there will be also an interesting idea for me to play b2, b4 maybe. Okay, even bishop to d7. Right, let's play g5 first, just to force the knight to e8. This breaks the coordination. And now if I play b4, the knight is trapped, but there is knight b3 trick. C takes b3, queen takes c3, and okay. I achieved nothing. So probably to make it work, I have the knight protected on c3, so I can play the useful queen to e1 move, preparing the queen to the king side, simultaneously protecting the knight. So now b4 is a real threat. Okay, bishop c6. I can still play b4, knight e7, and even b5 after that. Takes b5, knight b5 with some interesting ideas on the queen side as well. But let's keep this idea as the alternative. So let's play f5. Because after all, that is my main idea after playing g5. Just grab the space here. It feels like I have a lot of space now. So what about just capturing the bishop? And now I have an interesting choice between just, keeping playing here on the king side or just taking on c5. I guess taking on c5 may become a very interesting option very soon. Damaging the pawn structure and having much better bishop potentially. But first let's protect g5. I don't care about this b2. Don't think it matters. So what matters here? Slide squares probably matter. And now, I have a feeling that bishop c5 should be just a great option at some point. But I want to take on c5 only after I have a chance to blockade that c5 to prevent the activation of that. And I'm losing on time, my goodness. I was talking too much. Oh my god. I forgot about the time. Completely. This crap happens from time to time. Oh my. Yeah, this position is strategically winning for white, I guess. Well, it's not that clear because knight d6 and so forth. Oh, yeah. This happens. This happens sometimes. Yeah. Only 1 second. Of course, it's impossible to do something here. To achieve anything unless my opponent, I don't know, blunders a checkmate in 1 or something, but it's also not that likely. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, rook d4 followed by queen e4, but it doesn't matter anymore. So how this happened? I don't understand. Oh, maybe we were playing 3-minute. No, we were playing 5-minute game. I don't understand how this happened. I was just thinking a lot about other things. That's strange. So Ivan Maximov asks, hello, do you love vodka? No, I don't. So that was an interesting game, in fact. So a5 castles, f4, rook b8, g4 here, bishop d7 was probably a mistake. I think it was necessary for black to come up with the counter-attack already, playing something like b5 in this position. Or maybe b6, just undermining the pawn, having a chance to open up the b file at least. And after a b6, rook b6, there is some pressure on b2 and so forth. So that was an interesting thing, because after bishop d7, I'm just squeezing black, more or less. Here it was potentially interesting for me just to play f5 right now. I don't know why did I play this queen e1. I was really tempted by this possibility of b4. So why b4 doesn't work immediately? Because of this knight b3 move. I mean, it is possible to play this with white, but white doesn't win a lot. Maybe even nothing. So queen takes c3, attacking here. So white is still better, I believe, but I guess it's the step in the wrong direction. So I guess f5 was just correct here. And if e5 just, well, even knight to d5 is possible. Yeah, this position is very close to winning. Yeah, here g5 is hidden, so maybe knight e5 is not needed right now, so maybe just knight e2, and if bishop c6, I just bring my knight to g3, protecting everything, and then at some point f6 and knight f5 becomes another great attacking resource. Yeah, queen e1 was strange. Bishop c6, f5, e5, knight took on c6, which also not that forced, so I could have played this still. Knight to e2 and then knight to g3 with the idea of f6 and knight to f5, for example. That was an interesting idea. But okay, knight c6, bc6 here, I just played h4. Maybe again, not necessary move, but all right, that was okay. f6. And here I could have played something like b4, by the way. Why didn't I play this? I don't know. I just didn't see that. So rook takes b4, I just play knight e5. Nice, isn't it? So if cd5, I just take b4. If queen protects the rook, I just take on e7, then I take this rook on b4. And if black doesn't take on b4, then knight is forced to a passive position somewhere on d7. And, well, I have so many different ideas, like bishop e2 attacking a6, or maybe just protecting b4 first, and so forth. But I lost on time. Come on. Okay. When Andre fixed his time management, we're all doomed. Yeah, it will never happen, of course. You're right, Fuxia, because, yeah, I have to explain a lot. Come on. I need at least, I don't know, 10 minutes probably to experience no time troubles, at the same time keeping this level of discussion, I guess. I don't know. All right. Andre, have you ever lost to a GM norm in a winning position because of time? No. There were only two things that happened to me. So, two types of relationship with the GM norm making. So I'm really far from GM norm. So I'm just not doing the GM norm. Or, well, I'm just making the GM norm, so since it happened only once, because I have only one GM norm, well, there were no cases based on like losing on time. And by the way, in the real game, I have no problems with the time management. So I actually, in the vast majority of cases, I'm in time. This happens only during my live streams because I explain a lot. When I played, for example, when I play on my own, simply play Blitz, right? I have no problems with the time. So that is just a specific feature of my live streams because I try to explain a lot. That's it. All right, so let's play one more. I think it will be the last for today. And let it be Radix. Okay, let's try c5 this time. Andre, do you have any GM norms? Yeah, I have the one. Knight f3. So now we have just a normal Sicilian but without b pawns. Interesting, isn't it? So it gives me some additional objects of attack and additional possibilities based on this. But white also can benefit from that, I think. So what about knight f6 here? If I take on e4, knight e4, bishop e4, bishop f7, knight g5 is coming. So I'll play e6 instead. Just covering the f7 and preparing development of my bishop. It will be nice at some point to play d5, but I think that white will just play e5 himself, stopping me from that. Andre, do you use cheats, chess killer? Say to all how you cheat. What is that? What's a chess killer? Don't understand. Don't understand this question. Especially the second one, say to all how you cheat. I don't cheat, my friend. That's amazing. Strange questions. So rook b1 attacking my bishop, and that's a big question where to go. Because if I play bishop c6, then knight goes to e5, and it might be annoying slightly. If I play bishop to a6, I lose the control over d5 square, and e5 becomes possible. Alright, so let's play bishop c6. I think if... Oh, okay, my friend. One more motherfucker here. So e5. Now let's go here. Knight e4. All right. So this position is unclear. Now I have some problems with the d6 square and c5 pawn, but There are also some problems with white's center right now. So it's very tempting now to play knight b6. Creates a threat of taking on c4. I don't know if it is a good idea, in fact, because f5 is also an interesting move. Yeah, I guess f5 should be correct. So, I mean, it's very natural to get rid of this pawn, because I think white is forced to take en passant. Yeah. So many years ago, of course, I had a chance to deal with such a pawn structure. When I played Sicilian, of course, not after b4, because no one actually played b4 against me. But there were some lines, if I remember correctly, after white's second move c3, that led to similar situations when I had pawns e6, d7, c5 against d5. Interesting. And after this move, okay, I'm happy because I have pair of bishops. And this bishop potentially is very good. So look, I have an interesting plan now. Since I control this diagonal, maybe at some point I will come up with g5, g4. Oh, knight e2, that is strange. Now I will just give up this guy, I guess. It's worth doing. Just make this pawn structure very bad. And I think I will just sacrifice even more, opening up the f-file against these pawns, especially the one on f3. All right, let's go for this bishop. Okay, let's bring the queen there. I think without the queen it will be very hard to achieve anything. Position looks very promising for black because black has a clear plan of just playing against all those weaknesses. But it doesn't mean it will be an easy stuff. So at the moment I can see some moves leading to black's weaknesses. So for example, h3 is already mine, I guess. And this bishop on h2 is also a big weakness for white. Knight to g1. All right. Now it's time to understand how to break through. It's not that simple, in fact. So let's bring the knight to the center first. Just want to provoke a weakening of the position. So for example, if white plays c3, just come back to c6 and then d3 is weakened. Alright, here I think I have to protect d7 somehow, or maybe just c4. I don't know, let's go for this one. This looks much more active. Maybe it was not good. But right now, it feels not that bad. In general, because of that bishop mainly, so that bishop has no perspectives. So even if I lose some pawns, I think it won't really affect my position. Yeah, so that bishop remains there. Okay, now let's go for white's other weaknesses. It'll be very hard for white to survive it. Unless I blunder something. I'm just collecting white's material. And white can do nothing actually because I control the position completely. And that bishop just struggles. Okay, now it's time to take it, I guess. Yeah, won the game, was interesting fight, but I think white's serious problems started when he played, first of all, bishop takes d5, giving up a bishop, and after bishop d5 played this knight e2. Knight e2 was a serious mistake. I thought white would play something like d4 here. That made a big sense, by the way. So if I take on d4, you just take with the knight, and you start exerting some pressure on the d7 pawn. So this at least looked unclear to me. Knight e2 is a serious mistake. After that, I just take here. Maybe f4 wasn't the best move, but it was also quite natural. And when I saw that guy, well, I was already happy because now it will be very hard for white to survive it. It doesn't really matter if I achieve anything directly, but it is a long-term problem, right? So this bishop will remain there, and we just saw how it worked. I just gave up several pawns, but it didn't change the situation on the board because that bishop was the main feature of the position. So as for this moment, I think after f5, e takes f6 was a move, and okay, I will also answer the question about why I played bishop c6 very soon. So here I thought that was not clear. Knight takes f6. Well, here I have some play based on d5, in fact. Quick d5. But there are also some questions. For example, knight g5 isn't clear completely. I can't play d5, I believe. Instead of this d5, I have to do something with the knight. But if I play h6, well, I weaken my position even more. There are some maybe combinations. Don't know. This position is absolutely unclear to me, but maybe black is fine here. Which means that probably this e5 was not at the right moment, or maybe here just to take on d5, right? And after e d5 to play d4. Yeah, that was a correct way of playing this. So look at this bishop. It is definitely not cool. And my pawns on d5 and d7 are also not very inspiring. So yeah, here instead of knight e4, I guess knight e4 is a mistake. The first wrong move. So bishop d5 takes d5 and d4. Even if I take with the bishop, the same. Just knight e5 takes and d4. White has a better pawn structure. So these pawns are weaknesses. All right. And why instead of bishop c6 didn't I play queen c7 or something? I didn't like the idea of knight to b5, to be honest. That was my main concern here, just attacking my queen, and I don't know where to put it, because if I play this, then knight e5, very bad. If I play queen to c8, then bishop to f4, just get into d6 square, and so forth. Okay. So I think, yeah, this is just bad. Queen c7 is bad in general. Oh, I guess bishop c6 is more or less fine. So I don't think black has a better option. So I didn't want to play this because of, again, the following thing. So bishop a6, by the way, rook b8 is also possible here. Just, yeah, grabbing the knight and grabbing the bishop for the rook. So bishop a6 isn't a move at all. All right, bishop c6. So here, yeah, e5 is one possibility, followed by this. exchange on d5. Another possibility was just to keep the tension slightly, just waiting a bit and playing bishop to f4. And one more was just to grab my bishop, which was also quite interesting in my opinion. In which case, however, I can even try this. So takes. Okay, bishop b5, then knight to the center. I think I'm fine here. As the knight is very cool. If something goes wrong, I can put it on e6. So this bishop is not clear if it gets serious perspectives. So yeah, unclear position. Maybe just around equal. Don't know. Yeah, so e5 deserved attention, but then it was necessary to take on d5 because that position resulted with this doubled pawns on f3 and actually with my bishop wasn't that clear. Don't know. Interesting fight. Thanks a lot. And thanks to everybody for being with me, for following my shows. I will be very happy if you learned something new today. You're welcome tomorrow to our Monday edition of Learn from Chess Blitz. And once again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter to be notified about my live streams in time. And also about other activities, including some almost everyday chess puzzles to solve. And also, if you have the time and desire, you can follow me on twitch.tv /Mostrovsky, because I will be doing a lot of live streams on chess.com as well during these upcoming weeks. Have a nice evening or Monday or day. I don't know from where you watch this. Many thanks again and see you very soon. Bye-bye.